Welcome to Holding Space. Michael Zen is a visual producer and creative photographer using his imaginative visionary energy to channel Zen and hold space for spiritual and innovative discussion. Each episode creates a supportive, accepting, and open environment that allows exploration and expertise to come together with engaging and entertaining convergence. With guest and community all helping the shape of the way, Michael is grateful to be together to hold space. Now here is your host of Holding Space, Michael Zen.
Yes, here he is, Michael Zen. That's me, holding space. Once again, this space that I'm holding right now is April 15th. Would you believe it? It's tax day. Oh my goodness. But I'm holding, we call it April 15th so that we can collectively know when and where to show up. It's 9 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're here for the live show, do me a favor and just type in a comment, #live. That does a couple of things. One, it lets me know someone's there. Two, it lets the algorithm know someone's there and that something's going on that it should pay attention to. And three, it gives you something to do for a second. And if you're watching the replay, if it's not April 15th, type in #replay. It also helps the algorithm knowing somebody came across this later and decided to interact with it. So there you go. Holding Space is a show I've been doing since January on the Sacred Spiral Network. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Kelly Brickle, who runs the Sacred Spiral Network. It's an amazing network of shows with usually a metaphysical twist, sometimes a paranormal twist. There's a lot of spiritual, psychic mediums that have shows that give out readings. This show, I think, is even being broadcast on a couple of those channels. So if you're here looking for that, you're not going to find that, but you will find a definite energetic spiritual vibe here. And then also there's like some EVP programs on that network, like, ghost hunters and some cool stuff that they do. But I was invited over because I do a show on Thursday nights called The Live Stream of Consciousness. That's my true origin and happy place where I love to discuss consciousness and what that means and why we're here and how we're all connected. But this space, holding space, this space that I'm holding right now, is very similar. It's just a place where I can invite a guest who's got a piece of the puzzle. We all hold a piece of the puzzle, and who I'm looking forward to sharing with the rest of the people this piece of the puzzle. So welcome. I see Tim Lorenz out there. I see Nikki Silva out there. Interesting. I see Mikey P out there. I see Jenna. What's up? Jenna says she's here for Nikki Baby. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you like what you see, Jenna, at the end, I'm not going to make you subscribe now because you may hate it. But if you like it, please subscribe. Just to support Nikki, why don't you share it right now so people know it's there? That'll help me as well. Michael Christopher, who also has a great show on the Sacred Spiral Network, is here. You already subscribed. So with that being said, I used to have this bell that I would ring on the live stream of consciousness, physically a bell that I would grab and ring when people subscribed. But since then, I got this amazing bowl that I love. I have a relationship with this bowl. I sing in my room, I talk, and it rings out. I hear it ringing out, and I've discovered this little ritual. The power of this bowl is amazing. I call it sonic sage. So with me, let me open up the space, let me clear the space like a sonic sage. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let's all just relax into the space together. We'll ring the bell. Oh my God, I love it. It's still going. I love this ball so much. I would invoke the frequency and go around the circle, but it gets so loud, and it's not a great experience online. Speaking of that, let me check my settings here and turn off my audio, my echo cancellation, so that when my guest comes on, we're good. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed my bowl. It's my favorite thing. I love it to, I don't want to say death. I love it to infinity. There you go. Anyway, enough of my rambling. I'm so excited for tonight. I have a guest on my show who is not a psychic medium. I don't know if she reads tarot or something like that. She may do that, and she may be willing to do that for us. Like I said, a lot of people come to this space looking for a reading because it's on the Sacred Spiral Network, but that's not what tonight's show is about. Tonight's show is about my guest, Nikki Silva. And I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do the right introduction, so I asked ChatGPT to help me, and here we go. Nikki Ann Silva is a New York City-based actress, musician, and creative producer whose work spans music, film, and immersive storytelling. I'm excited to talk about that one. She's known for her dynamic performances and genre-blending artistry, often exploring themes of identity, emotion, and cinematic nostalgia. Sounds good, right? She's so amazing. I'm so excited. Her music, such as the track Psycho Girlfriend, showcases a fusion of pop rock and theatrical elements, often accompanied by visually rich film-inspired music videos, which she makes herself with her friends. They're freaking awesome. We'll get a sample of that tonight. She also performs live with the Nikki Silva Band, delivering emotionally charged performances at venues like the Cutting Room in New York City. That's an awesome place to play. There's so much more here. It's so great. Beyond music, she's involved in film and production through her ventures Nikki Silva Productions and Nikki Unhinged, indicating a commitment to storytelling across multiple platforms. She's an amazing actress as well. This immersive theater thing is so cool. I can't wait to talk about it and find out about it. But also, Nikki is the founder and director of the Exceptional Pageant, a nonprofit beauty pageant established in 2012, designed to empower individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities. This was another thing that grabbed at my heart because I worked with a group called the My Face, and they worked specifically with people with cleft palates and kind of like facial disorders. And it was the most amazing experience that I had working with these people and in that kind of capacity. Anyway, in addition to her philanthropic, I got that one right, philanthropic efforts, Silva is a multidisciplinary artist based in New York City. Her creative pursuits include music, film, theater. We've already said that. All right, ChatGPT is getting a little ridiculous. I didn't read all the way through this. But anyway, without further ado, I'm super excited. I hope you guys are too. I cannot wait for this conversation. Welcome to Holding Space, Nikki Silva. What's happening?
Hi.
Hey,
Wow, ChatGPT has my back.
right? ChatGPT took a friendly turn and really is like
That's so funny.
humanly supportive, and it really does such a great job. As a matter of fact, I said, tell me about Nikki Silva, and immediately it started talking about the Kitchen Sisters, which I knew was not you. There's another Nikki Silva out there. And all I did was said, that's not the right one to ChatGPT. And it said, oh, here you go. Here's the right
That's
Nikki.
so funny. Since I'm like 11 years old, I've been Googling my name and this Kitchen Sister comes up. And I'm like, I can't wait for the day where I Google my name and I am before Kitchen Sister Nikki
You've
Silva.
got your own section. Yeah, well, you do. You've got your own section now, which is really cool. You've got, besides your music, you've got IMDb, some of those things help with the SEO of your name for sure. For sure. Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to have you on the show because I feel like I kind of, you've been in my periphery for a while because we have a couple of different connections. I worked with your dad for many years, who is also a very, very, very talented musician. Still working really hard at his music. A great original singer-songwriter, Dean James Silva. and a bunch of your friends. Shanae, shout out to Shanae.
Hey, Nene.
Lawrence Coleman. We were talking a little bit earlier about you guys. If you're out there, or if you're watching the replay, or if you're hearing a ringing in your ear right now. Oh, my phone! Did you hear that? My phone just did
Imagine. Oh my
right
God.
as I said that. Anyway, yeah. So I'm excited to talk to you because I've been a fan of what you're doing. You're really talented. I've seen you out on the scene, singing with a couple of different bands, um, and your own project as well. And also on YouTube. It's great to see you. Oh, speaking of that, that reminds me, I made a banner with your YouTube. Let me pop that up
Ooh.
along the bottom there. Awesome. So, I know we started talking about it a little bit, but why don't we take it back a little bit to who you are and how you became who you are, and with so many different interests in the creative arts.
Yeah. I think that ever since I was little, I just had this burning desire to tell stories. My dad taught me 4 chords on the piano when I was 9, and I
Mhm.
wrote like 200 songs with those 4 chords. And
Awesome,
then
awesome.
I learned a couple more chords when I got older. Acting has always just been such a big passion of mine. I think that I kind of I believed that in order to be an artist or to be an actress, like you needed to know someone
Mhm,
or, grow up in a certain way, or like if you didn't
mhm,
start when you're 5, you can't do it. If your
mhm,
parents didn't push you, you can't do it. So I
mhm,
kind of explored different career paths very early in life and quickly realized you only have one life, so you have to go for what
mhm,
your spirit is leading you to go for.
mhm,
um
mhm, mhm.
so I've kind of been going for it since I'm 20, I would say. um
Okay. I
and
was
I've
going to say
learned a
you're
lot.
that's an amazing revelation to make at a young age. What a
Yeah,
blessing, because I
yeah,
think that's part of what they call wisdom, right? As you get older, you find these things out, but then you're already kind of old. But even for me, who's somebody who's older, like, look, I've never expected to be doing a show and talking to guests, you know what I mean? And like
yeah,
suddenly I'm doing something different and excited about it, and
yeah,
it's bringing a new energy to my life and to the world, right? I've got something to contribute now. It's like
yeah.
it's pretty cool. And it's a form of manifestation, right? Because like here I
Mhm.
am having a conversation with you, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I want to talk to that person, and boom, I invite you
That's
on my
so
show,
cool.
and here we are having a conversation. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's awesome.
I do love it. I do love it. So what's your would you say is your first passion? Would you say it's theater, or would you say it's music?
I would say acting.
Mhm,
There's just such a passion and psychology, I guess.
mhm,
I love reading, I love scripts, I love character work. I just love being able to put myself in different shoes. Like, I feel so many emotions, like, I
mhm,
feel everything
mhm,
all the time.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
I feel like the reason is because I'm supposed to be channeling that
mm,
into storytelling.
mhm, mhm,
As
mhm.
much as I love music, I don't I would definitely say that acting is like above everything for me.
Interesting, interesting. I love it. I love that answer, man. And it makes so much sense. I was like perusing through your YouTube channel, and I saw the little self tapes that you put up, that are kind of like little acting. Like an acting reel, right? It's you kind of
Yeah.
going through the scopes of different human emotions as different humans almost, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? As like maybe the same human, but different in alternate universes. You know what I mean? Maybe.
It's interesting too because I stopped acting for a while.
Mhm,
And I got more just because like financially, there wasn't a lot of jobs happening and I was involved in so many different things, and
mhm,
I decided to open a production company and I stopped pursuing acting and kind of just did it more for fun.
mhm,
Um and now that I'm pursuing it as a career, it's nice to have music as almost like because there's so much rejection involved in acting, it's
Mhm,
like, all right,
mhm,
well, I'll just write a song.
mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
like it's nice to kind of have that to jump over to be like,
Yes.
I still have music.
You're totally just like defining everything that I think about you as you're talking. Like that's total
Aw.
because I think looking at your music and listening to your music, there's a lot of therapy going on in that music, right? Your lyrics are very, very focused on mental health and different things that maybe are autobiographical, maybe they're not,
Mhm.
things that maybe a friend of yours went through, and you got
Absolutely.
inspired to write a song about what it is. And we were just talking about that too, right? The layers of conditioning, right, that
Mhm.
society can leave a lot of people covered with, that they don't even know that they're covered with, right? And
Even after you learn something or realize something, that conditioning kind of comes back.
Mhm,
It's kind of like a circle of lessons that you have to relearn because the conditioning just goes so deep.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
so I think that
absolutely.
that's very apparent in my songwriting. Like sometimes I'll write a song and it's like this it's like something that I would write when I'm 21, like a lesson that I should have already learned, but it's just this repetitive behavior for whatever reason, like it's
Mhm,
going to take a little
mhm.
bit more effort and work to break that cycle.
Totally, totally. I love that, and I think that's why I was excited about talking to you, because I feel like, and I said this to you as we were talking earlier before, that I feel like you're probably very spiritual. And when I say spiritual, it doesn't necessarily mean woo woo this way or woo woo that way. It just means grounded. It just means kind of like connected to yourself, right?
Mhm.
Enough that you give off this vibe of confidence, and it's not just a vibe, there's an authenticity to that vibe,
Thank
right?
you. I appreciate that.
I mean, would you agree with that about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I try to be self-aware, self-reflective, and understanding and non-judgmental of
Mhm,
people. And I think I've just
mhm,
always kind
mhm,
of been
mhm,
able to
mhm,
understand people. And I guess that's kind of where my spirituality lives.
mhm,
I've always had a connection to, God or source or whatever
mhm,
it
mhm,
is, spiritually at one spirit that lives inside of me.
mhm.
And I've just felt very connected to that and have been able to freely speak to it slash pray.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
so
And
yeah, I
and
guess
and
that would,
express it as well. I think I think that's a big part of this exchange right here, and why I wanted to talk to you, right? Because I feel like, not that I feel like you need to be told, "Oh my God, you're so good," and that kind of adoration, but just validation from another perspective, right? From the perspective of, I see the messages that you're putting into your music, whether it's intentional or not. It's authentic because it's a part of you, and it's a part of, the therapy isn't necessarily like, oh, I've got to tell everybody else, but it's almost like a reminder to yourself,
yeah,
right? And
100%.
every time you sing it, you get to kind of relive that elevation that it brought you,
Yeah.
right?
It's always different. Sometimes when I'm writing a song, I'm not thinking like, oh, someone's gonna hear this. I'm just like writing it because like instead of crying, this is just how my tears are coming out in like
Mhm.
words and melodies.
Mhm, mhm. I love it.
So
I love it so much. I want to share some of that stuff in just a second. Let me just put up your YouTube page. Make sure this is going to work correctly. Hang on one second. Share a screen. We're going to share a Chrome tab. We're going to also share the audio. It's your YouTube page. I think it's yes. Okay. So the Sacred Spiral Network has it set to jump on the screen automatically. So I just wanted to make sure. And it did. So before I do this, I just want to address Angelo, one of my listeners. Angelo, also kind of like, again, I think I mentioned, this is the Sacred Spiral Network is a lot of psychic mediums and people who do different kind of reading. Angelo is saying she sees music or notes, and he's asking again here, do you see scales? So do you have any sort of Let me just hide this for a second. Do you have any sort of synesthesia, like where you?
So I don't have like the gift. I don't I actually am somebody who had to work on their pitch. Like I was not naturally gifted in that way, I guess.
Mhm,
Um
mhm,
I'm just like a writer,
mhm, mhm,
you know,
mhm,
and an actress. So I
mhm,
express
mhm,
myself in words
mhm,
and
mhm, mhm.
um yeah, I mean melodies too, but I definitely don't like see scales in that
Yeah,
way.
okay, I can see what you're
It's
saying. Yeah,
kind of something I had to train myself to do.
sure, sure, sure. Right, right. Your music isn't based on the perfect notes. Your music is more based
Yeah.
on the expression of
Yeah, and
of
like I've had to study music theory and I have studied it and I think it's absolutely amazing and I love, you know, utilizing it in order to express myself, but it's not like, oh, like some people like see colors and tones
right,
and
right,
things
right,
like
right,
that.
right.
I don't.
Perfect pitch, right. I saw some guy like they would like make a sound, they'd like hit a glass and he'd be like F sharp,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
they'd play it on the piano and he'd be right. I'd be like, what? How the hell? You know.
yeah.
That's pretty nuts. So, one of the things as you were talking, I wanted to share. This was not one of the three that you mentioned, which are the first three here on your channel. Oh, let me put this up so people see what I'm talking about. So, Nikki Silva's YouTube channel. There's such an amazing stuff here. And the three videos we're going to go over them. But this was more like the mantra. This one right here. So let's play this. I believe the sound should come through. Let me know if you can't hear it. But let's take a look at this hate, which is a great
Nice.
mantra, right? I guess it's a
Yeah.
mantra,
And
right?
this is not like released anywhere but YouTube, so.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
This hate gon' get me nowhere. 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 Spirit, primitive, intuition riveting, contributing to rage. I never wanna feel this much. Give me an H, give me an A, give me a T. That's full stop. Baby girl, breathe. Hate gonna get me nowhere. 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 Hate gonna get me nowhere.
Love it. So good. So like right to the point,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And
I
like
mean, that is like a classic Nikki move to take anger slash sadness and turn it into comedy.
so great.
And it was literally just me in my room getting so angry, just taking out my voice memo and being like, "This
You
shit
know
don't
what?
get me
And
nowhere."
what's so amazing is everything you just said comes through in the energy of it. You know what I mean? It's like I think most people listening to that will be like they'll unravel that story, right? And relate themselves to it, right? When did I feel like that? Oh my God, I can remember feeling like this. Oh my God, let me save this song so that whenever I get to that point, I can
Yeah.
just pop it on and I can
And
do a little.
singing it is very healing. If you're feeling hate, just sing that song and you're
I love
good
it.
to go.
I love it. It's so fucking good. I'm sorry. It's
Thank
just
you.
it really is. It's amazing.
Shout
And
out Teddy Kumpel who produced it and sings on it. And
awesome.
yeah, he really knows how to feed my creativity in a way that like really allows me to express myself in every capacity. He's just, you know, he's like, give me what you're feeling. And then
That's
he
awesome.
turns
That's,
it into this
so
song.
so so here's a question. Are you his muse or is he your muse?
I don't think we're each other's muses.
Okay.
I think that we're just a good partnership.
Okay.
Like
That's great.
it's kind of, you know, it's when you're working as an artist, when you're working with a producer, you want to have synergy with them.
Totally.
And I love a good muse and I have tons and I'm sure I am others muses as well. But Teddy is not a muse
Cool.
situation.
That's cool. That's cool. No. And if I'm not mistaken, I looked a little bit into the theater piece. Is he the one in the theater piece too? Is he?
No,
Oh
no.
no, he's not. It's a different person. Okay.
Completely unrelated, yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe that.
Teddy is just the producer of my debut album that's coming out May 30th.
Okay.
Over the past year, I've worked with him on these 10 songs and we're putting them out. He produced This Hate and he produced the other 3 songs that I've released so far, Real, Manic Episode, and Psycho Girlfriend.
Okay. Cool. And what about Maintenance Man? What is?
Oh, Maintenance Man, yeah. So that's an interesting story. My friend Yuda, he sent me this instrumental that he wrote, this riff, and I just sat right here at my desk, and there was a guy working outside, and we call him the maintenance man,
Yeah.
and I just started singing Maintenance Man, and I was also like messaging with this kid that I dated when I was 14, and he was like telling me, yeah, like I moved to this state and I became a maintenance man, and I was like, there you go. And I took like a bunch of stuff he said and just started riffing on it.
Right.
And
The
then
universe gave it to you.
yeah, and then Yuda and I share we call him our godfather. And he said, why don't you guys bring this song to Teddy? Teddy's his friend, and have him produce it. So I went with Yuda to Teddy's studio and we recorded Maintenance Man. And then I was like, Teddy, I would love to work with you like further than this. So that Maintenance Man is how the whole album was born.
Cool.
So without Maintenance Man, I wouldn't have an album with Teddy.
That's cool. And I mean, I'm going to go back to this, bring this page back up, and I'd love to play a little bit of Maintenance Man. For me, this song kind of invoked, obviously there's this kind of retro vibe to it, but it also invoked like this cool vibe that like the Spin Doctors or like,
nice.
I don't know. There was G Love and Special Sauce, like old school, just like good times, summertime music, and like.
Yeah. And this is the live version. So there's an album version that's coming out on the album, but this was like me and the band performing it live. So.
And I also saw. So tell me before I hit play, because it's going to start playing probably right away. It says Tiny Desk Submission. Is that that's a contest, right, of some sort?
Yeah, so that was me entering the Tiny Desk.
And what is the parameter? You just have to have a tiny desk in the scene, or
you
what?
have to have a desk in it, and it has to
I
be
never heard of
here.
that. Wow, I was like, I kind of like was reverse engineering, like, wait, what is this all about? Because
it was also my kind of secret way to get Yuda in my band, because I was like, hey, let's do a Tiny Desk submission. You have to play guitar because you wrote it. And he's like, okay. And then he came, and I'm like, then he's like, okay, this is really fun. I'll learn the rest of your songs. Be in the band.
Very sneaky. Yeah, because I think after that it goes to like a bunch of Tiny Desk other videos, and I was like, wait, what is this all about? So I kind of like it got me intrigued, which is cool. That's a cool thing, right? So all right, let's take a look at Maintenance Man real quick. I'll try to figure out when to stop it. I'll probably get into the whole thing. It's 3 minutes. I'll try not to play the whole thing.
There's Yuda.
Morning, Sunday afternoon. The kids are watching television. Hold me like you won't see me soon. Free me from my hellish vision. You work too hard. Days just end. So turn me on. I think I might just be in love with the maintenance man. Nobody takes care of me like the maintenance man. Fix all my broke heartstrings. You the maintenance man.
That's Teddy.
Maintain my body, baby, your maintenance man.
So let me I'm gonna lower the music. I'm gonna leave it
Yeah.
playing. So I imagine there's a lot of different musical influences that you have, because
Mhm.
this is like, I mean, you're a young girl, and this has like some, I feel like, much more classical influences. I mean, even bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers, I feel like are probably like dated for you, right? Did you listen to that kind of stuff growing up?
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers was like I would call them my favorite band for a while.
Okay, okay.
Um More recently I've got more into like pop, I guess pop artists, alternative pop people. But like when I was into bands, like Red Hot Chili Peppers was one of my favorite bands. I mean, they still are, but I just don't really like put them on much.
It's like such a different day and age, right, to listen to music and consume music than it used to be, because like you said, you used to listen to bands, you used to put on an album, right, and listen to a whole album.
Mhm.
We put on the other night, I go to bed, usually I put on some like binaural beats or something to just like fall asleep to, and I decided to put on the Purple Rain album.
Oh,
And
I love Prince.
and like we were listening to the thing going to sleep, and I'm just like, it's such a different experience listening to an album. Like
Oh
it
yeah.
evokes, like you said, I feel like it evokes a
Yeah.
story,
I mean, I'm still a big album girl. Like when I think of an artist, I'll put on one of their albums and listen to it from
Mhm,
start to
mhm,
finish.
mhm. I love
I
that.
think that I would say that you bring up Prince, that kind of style of music, I think, is definitely in
Prevalent.
the album that I have with Teddy.
Mhm,
I would
mhm.
say has Prince
Cool.
inspiration in there.
Oh, cool. Awesome. And Prince also draws from a lot of different places, and is just like, I feel like there's certain music and musicians that you can tell, you can feel that appreciation in their expression of music, right? Because it pulls from so many different places, and it feels so smooth,
Absolutely, yeah.
it feels good. There's a flow to it. I think that ties into the idea of frequency and energy, which is all the stuff I talk about on the live
Yeah.
stream of consciousness, that like you're just tuning into that stuff that's there, right, that all of these other people have classically tuned into, and then just expressed through their own vessels,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah, like I'll find myself putting on a Nirvana record
Mhm,
and then a Harry Styles record and
mhm,
do a whole, yoga routine
mhm,
back to
mhm,
back,
mhm,
two
mhm.
completely different, but somehow
Right.
feels so
Mhm,
similar to me.
mhm, mhm.
Um, so yeah, I have a very wide span of influence and genres that I like.
Yeah.
Um, and that I listen to every day. Like I consume a lot of music.
Cool. That's great.
Sometimes I go to put something on and I'm like, wait, maybe you just want silence right now.
I'm a little envious. I feel like I used to be that way, and I just kind of don't anymore. Um, I went through an interesting experience. I mean, I'm closer to your dad's age than your age, but like, I played in bands all through my 20s, um
Oh, you're a musician.
yeah, and
Okay.
I mostly liked heavy, aggressive music, right? Loud music and aggressive rock. And that's what I played for a long time in my 20s. And then as I got older, I also didn't like to play cover tunes when I was in my 20s. I was like, no, I want to play
That's
original music.
valid.
And it was just, yeah, that's what I felt, right? And so that's what I went. And then I grew into an appreciation for playing other songs, right? There was a kind of an achievement in learning another song and playing it, and then kind of expressing it yourself. Um,
Which is
so
kind of like acting or theater, really,
Mhm,
because you're telling a story that, yes, you might relate to and feel exactly the way that it is, but essentially that's a script that's given to you. That's
mhm,
kind of how I view covers is like,
mhm.
okay, now I get to play this character. I didn't write this, but I'm gonna love performing it.
Cool. Yeah, you're processing that in your own perspective, right?
Hmm.
And, yeah, that's awesome. And I think so. I grew an appreciation for all sorts of different music, like blues and slower, more expressive music. And then interesting experiences. At one point, I was asked to kind of sub in for this band that was like industrial metal, and it was like very, very heavy and loud. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm going to enjoy it. And I started to enjoy it. I enjoyed like learning it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I think I hadn't been playing for a while. So I was like happy to be playing again. But then there was one of the songs was actually called Hatred. And it wasn't like your song, right? Where you're doing this mantra. It was like yelling like hatred, hatred. And something clicked in me where I was like, I don't want to be expressing this. Right?
Mm.
Even though I can enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is musically,
Mm.
because my roots came from that, and I understood what it was, and
Right.
I could appreciate it on some level. It didn't feel right expressing it, which was really
Yeah.
an interesting experience.
It
And
affects you, you know.
yeah,
It's like if you're doing a run of a Greek tragedy in theater and every day you're like losing your son or something,
it's
takes
great.
a serious mental toll on you. I played a woman once on crystal meth who had like schizophrenia, and at the end she like pours gasoline all over her naked body and like burns herself. And
Oh my
it like
goodness.
screwed me up. Like I was not
Wait,
equipped.
like regularly you did that in like a
I did
play?
it for, thank God it was only 2 weekends,
Oh my
but
goodness.
I was not equipped at the time to handle coming out of character.
Mhm, mhm,
Now I'm way more experienced and I
mhm,
understand acting
mhm,
at a deeper level.
mhm,
But when I did that play, I was not that I was going method, but like it kind of naturally, like my character liked vodka and Coke. I don't even drink. And
mhm, mhm.
after the play was over, I like cried with like vodka and Coke for like 2 weeks. And like my friends were like, Nikki, you gotta stop drinking vodka and Coke. And I'm like, but I can't let her go. And it
Wow.
was just like I did way too much.
Wow.
And I was like, I slept at the theater, like on my set, my motel room, and it was very sad. So yeah, I get it. Like with your hatred song, like you
Mhm.
start to sing
Mm.
these words, and it's like you don't realize how much that affects you,
Totally. Totally.
especially if you're doing it over and over again. It's like,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's interesting now. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. I had probably already been going through the spiritual, kind of awakening thing, which I don't even like that terminology. I feel like life, that's what life is, right? Life is the whole thing is that. And um I'm very, very careful now with everything I say in conversation as I speak to someone. If I'm about to say something and it's like maybe talking bad about myself or kind of
mm,
manifesting something that I don't want to bring into the world, right? I'm like,
that's
oh,
very good because
I don't want to say it even.
yeah, no, it's very important. I feel like self-talk is just everything. You can talk yourself to complete success or talk yourself to
Mhm.
complete burying the worst.
Yep.
But that's why I mentioned earlier about acting being psychology, because you have to, after you play a character that might be bad self talk, depression, or whatever it is you're experiencing as that character, like you have to have a ritual where you take off your costume, take off your makeup, look in the mirror, remind yourself who you are, put on some happy music, reaffirm. Because if you skip that step
Mhm.
and just go right to the bar and drink with your friends, yay, opening night, da da da, go to sleep, wake up,
Mhm.
that is having an impact on you without you even realizing. You might wake up feeling on cloud nine. Oh, I did this great play yesterday or whatever. But it's really important to have that ritual. And I learned that from playing really damaged characters
Mhm.
and realizing that, and also as an actor, I call it being in your impulses.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you want to feel like you're in the impulses of your character. So
Sure.
if push me, I'm going to impulsively make a choice as that character would make choice.
Right.
So if I'm in a character's impulses who is vindictive or angry or narcissistic or whatever it is, like that's going to bleed into my real life if I don't make sure to have rituals that bring me back to like, okay,
I love that.
you know
But I love that. That's so important. Thank you, Sean. Sean saying nice interview, nice insight.
Hey,
Awesome.
Sean.
Thank you, Sean. I love that. And actually, it's pretty interesting you say that, because that's kind of how I feel about how I started the show with the Sonic Sage, right? And I noticed when I was doing my Sonic Sage that you were lighting sage in the green room there.
I was like,
And
all right, we'll clear the space.
yeah, so I mean, so what is your relationship to rituals? Do you have rituals for a lot of things? Do you do rituals?
Yeah, I mean, I could call like a lot of different things I do a ritual. Like
Mhm.
in the morning, my ritual of making coffee. Like this is why also I say that like I respect people who have kids so much, because I'm like I do way too much like ritual. Like, I can never, like when I sleep at my sister's and take care of her kids, I'm like all messed up, help her,
Right. Wait a
I'm
second.
like,
I didn't do
my
this. I didn't
God,
do that.
like
Yeah.
spreading avocado on my toast is a ritual. Like but as far as, doing like a cleanse or a meditation, I do it as much as I, can fit into my schedule. Like I know if
Sure.
I actually did a guided meditation every day that it would be life changing, because whenever I do it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is how I'm supposed to be guided through my day.
Right.
But
Have you
yet
done guided meditations? Have you done?
I do on YouTube,
Yeah.
Boho Beautiful, 10-minute
Right.
guided meditation. Love it.
Yeah.
But even though I know that doing it every day is going to make me have a better day, and I'm going to be more grounded, clear-headed, and be guided by, the purest intuition that I have,
Mhm.
I still, I can't even tell you the last time I did it, because
Right.
I wake up and I'm like, "Da, da, da, gotta write 3 morning pages, gotta make
Sure.
my gotta do this,
Sure,
do
sure,
that,
sure.
gotta be out the door by this
I get
time."
it. I totally get it. And I'm gonna definitely recommend it, right? So I have a friend who is a great meditation guide and was doing it, and I was going to group meditations, and it was such a different experience to do a group meditation in
Mm.
person. And a group meditation is where I actually had kind of like, I've only had a few experiences, right, in my life that I could say were like, otherworldly, and a group meditation was one of them. Um, but I do recommend you try it, because it's
So
definitely
I
different than
have,
YouTube.
I'll definitely get, like, you can tell me your friend's information
Yeah.
and I'll try
Cool.
it.
Yes.
But I have tried, I'll let you go in 1 second. I have tried a group meditation, I just want to say,
Yeah.
and I found it really hard to concentrate. Like,
Okay, that's fair.
I kept, like, will be like opening my eyes and I'm like, crap, I'm
When
like trying
how
so
long ago
hard.
was it? How long ago was it?
This was probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
So,
So
do you know my cousin? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
you know that you're at a different place than you were
Sure.
4 years ago. So that's
100%.
the key. That's going to be the key right there. So what were you asking me? Do I know your cousin? Who's your cousin?
Yeah, my cousin, her name is Lexi Mucci. She's Tiger's Eye on Instagram, and then it got deleted, and she's now, you know her, Lexi Mucci?
No, yeah, of course I know Lexi.
Oh,
She's been on the show. Yeah, she's
oh yeah,
amazing.
that's my cousin.
Oh wow, I can actually kind of see a resemblance. Wow.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I had no idea. She's awesome. I love her path too, and the things that she's exploring and teaching people. I
Hmm.
did a cool. She hosted like a fire night, teaching people how to do fire dancing at her place, and I did photos that night, like
Oh,
cool time exposures and some cool stuff. I have some cool photos of her doing
amazing.
her stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I've done like
another
meditations
connection.
with
Crazy.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done meditations with her in like little
Mhm,
groups,
mhm,
and
mhm,
she
mhm.
is just
Yeah.
next level. Like she
Yeah.
knows how to, I just love everything she says is so wise, and she's so
Mhm,
humble
mhm,
about
mhm,
and about learning and
mhm.
just expressing herself. And I
Sure,
think that we have both learned so much from each other in different ways.
I'm sure.
Um, but I just admire her spirituality and her journey so much.
Mhm,
And she's definitely someone that I could, like, she could help me meditate any day, and I'm like there.
Totally. Yeah, she's got amazing energy. But you have it too, and that's why I said to you, like, I think you're spiritual because you talked about psychology, which I think is an important part of spirituality, because psychology is really even taking the time to understand that everybody thinks differently, and there's reasons for it, right? And to be a
Yeah.
little bit more empathic, you seem like very empathic towards that, which I can understand how that can kind of affect you in a group meditation setting. But like opening your eyes and that kind of thing, I feel like that's just a self-confidence, like not a self-confidence, but just like a self-awareness thing. And you're probably much better off now
Yeah.
and in a more self-aware spot where you're like, I don't give a shit if anyone's looking at me. I want to fucking
Yeah.
meditate.
I think, like you said, it's more of an empathic thing. Like, I did a ceremony once, upstate with like a shaman and everything. And it was like my first time doing it. And I was nervous going into it. I like set my own personal intentions. Like, it felt so personal. But then when it started, I noticed myself caring for other people. Like, one guy, like a couple people away from me, was getting cold, and I went over, gave him a blanket. Someone else was getting sick. I went over, helped them. And I found myself taking on this like motherly role in the group, as opposed to just like letting the medicine and the meditation like work through me. And like, I was like, my purpose is to help other people. So
Right.
I think that has a big effect on the group meditation concentration thing for me, is like,
Yeah.
especially if there's people I know there,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I wonder if they're having a
Right.
moment, you know?
Right. And
But
that
yeah, I think,
was that ayahuasca that you're talking about, or was it a different
mhm,
plant medicine?
yeah,
Oh, nice,
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I'm fascinated with ayahuasca. I have not experienced it myself. I have not felt called to it, which is right what they say, which is cool. I'm cool with that because I'm fascinated by it. I'm like, oh my God, that would be so cool. I've heard so many amazing stories, and people experience it in so many different ways, some
Mhm.
painful, some not painful, but always I don't know anyone who kind of left worse off. Right?
Right.
Everybody I know kind of came out better, and just the idea of some of the stories, being able to visit a moment in time in your own past and fix it, that
Mm,
blows my mind when I hear those stories, that
yeah.
people like fix things, and for years they've had a stomach thing, and they're done, and it's gone completely, like medically, like examined and gone.
Yeah.
Like that's just
It's
amazing.
like the power of the mind, maybe.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm, mhm, mhm,
I don't know if ayahuasca like contains the properties to like actually heal things the way
mhm.
people say. I mean, maybe. My
No,
experience was very like, it was almost like feeling nothing,
mhm,
but like very at peace. Like, it was almost like, just it was nothing like every like other people around me, like, I did it twice. The first time it was
okay,
completely by myself. There wasn't really there was one person I knew there,
mhm.
Kenny Brown. He's the one who brought me.
Shout out to
And
Kenny.
shout out Kenny. You know him too?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Shout
But
out.
we that was the one where I was like, I felt very just like I was meditating all through the night and just able to be awake and do it.
Mhm.
I had some visuals, but also I will say that at the time when I did the ayahuasca, I had never tried mushrooms. I had never tried acid. I like, people were like, have you ever smoked weed? I'm like, a little. Like, I was
Right.
very green to
Right.
spirituality in general.
Right. And all
Um,
psychedelic experiences in general. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I had never, no psychedelic experiences.
Which could be
So
intense. They
it
can
almost,
definitely be intense.
like, the first time I did it was almost underwhelming,
Okay.
because I was like expecting like
Right.
something, and I it was like not what I expected, but I'm like, okay, maybe I'm like, and at the time I was vegan. I was like I wanted to be spiritual and like be pure, and
Mhm,
I
mhm,
cared for all living things so much, so
mhm,
deeply.
mhm,
And then a couple years went by. I actually stopped being a vegan, like did a vegetarian, then I went to eating meat again.
mhm,
And the second time I experienced it, I was with my two friends, and I just felt both of their energies so
Mm,
strongly.
mm,
It was almost like my body was split in
mm.
two. My one friend was experiencing such pain, and like
Wow.
he was like fighting demons so hard, and I felt all of his pain, and like I just had a voice inside like, let him go through it.
Mhm,
Like,
mhm,
you don't have to take on that pain
mhm,
for
mhm,
him. Let
mhm,
him go
mhm,
through it.
mhm, mhm,
And then the other side, my friend was like, as if he was like on MDMA. Like, he was like a kid at a playground
mhm,
dancing around. And this whole side of me felt like a kid at a playground.
mhm.
And
Wow.
the shaman was telling him, was like working with him so intensely. And the shaman was telling him, like, kid, this is the grandmother medicine. You're not at the studio playing around. Like, you gotta contain yourself.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I'm just sitting there like, I feel these two
mhm.
things so
Wow.
strongly.
Wow. Intense. Yeah, that's
So I kind of broke out of them and went and helped all the other people in the
mhm,
circle,
mhm, mhm.
like the guy who was cold and the guy
Right,
and the
right,
girl who
right.
was throwing up, and just like rubbing this one girl's back who looked like she was scared or whatever, and
Mhm,
like
mhm,
helping
mhm.
with the buckets and cleaning up and whatever, you know. I just like became like a helper, I guess.
Right, right. Cool.
And then a couple months later, I did acid for the first time, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Uh-oh.
this is
Okay, okay. Tell us about that. What did that
uh,
what happened? Like,
I mean,
how
I
did
would
that
not,
change you?
I wouldn't do it again, that's for sure.
You
But
only did it once.
I did it like 4 times.
Okay, okay.
Always great experiences, always so just eye-opening and
Mhm,
full of like love, and just
mhm,
seeing
mhm,
everything as this beautiful living breathing piece of art.
mhm, mhm,
And just feeling so free and so um right about like my choices in life, like even like the negative stuff like all
mhm,
seemed so positive.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
it was just very positive.
Everything made sense.
Everything made sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's the ultimate kind of the common thread through DMT and ayahuasca and all of these things.
Mhm,
It's just
mhm.
kind of that feeling like, you know what? It's all one thing, and and that doesn't screw me up trying to understand it. I get it, right? And because me trying to understand it's all one thing, as a human, I'm just like, I get it, kind of.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
I
But
did I did acid once at a Fish concert,
oh,
and I even understood Fish.
yeah.
And I was floored at the performance.
Oh my God, yes.
I've never experienced something like that. Me and my two friends, where's my bandmates from the Big Happy?
Okay.
We sat in our seats. The security guards had to be like, you guys had to leave. Like, we couldn't even move. And then afterwards, we were just like, oh, they're fishing for the jam. Like, we just understood everything about it.
Everything made sense. That's so
And
good.
then it was the during the baker's dozen, and we're like, let's go back in a couple days and not do the acid and like see how amazing it is.
Right, right,
You
right.
know,
And what
we
was the
went,
difference?
it was no, it was completely different. We like
Complete.
ended up getting like chicken nuggets at MSG and just like eating our chicken nuggets.
It
Like,
wasn't the same. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's I mean, that's a big contingency of their audience, right? Is all about kind of that deeper experience and connection and just kind of
yeah.
disconnecting from the third dimension and going into a different one.
And I think that there's some people's ears who are trained to be open the way mine were on acid, like all the time, and that's
Mhm,
the Fish fans.
mhm,
I don't have that ability
right.
to turn that. Probably if I smoked weed, I would get a little bit more into it,
Mhm.
but with no like weed or anything, I'm just like, I can't.
But you know what? I think the thing about Fish is cool. This is cool because I played with a band, these guys that were way better than I was, and they were really into improvisation, and it made me such a better player, right? I don't think I had heard of Fish at that point, right? And we played a bunch of jams that we had on tape, and a couple of years later, I was like, oh my God, this is kind of like Fish, right? It's very much related to what all the stuff I love, which is energy and channeling and
So
frequency
true.
and,
Yeah, yeah.
just kind of tuning into this thing. So let me know what you think about this. I've been trying to run this by some people, this thought, and it's not really even a question. It's just like, tell me what you think of this. Because this is related to your ayahuasca experience, and it's kind of related to an experience I had where I'm a video guy, right? So I was asked to document a pranic rebirth ceremony that a friend of mine was doing, which involved sound bath and meditation and breath work, which gets very intense, and then like a sharing thing. But the breath work specifically, I don't know if you've seen any of that kind of stuff, but especially this pranic breath work, it gets very intense where people do have these visceral reactions, right? They either break into laughter, or they're screaming in pain, or they're crying, or their body is convulsing. And as an empath, right, videoing this, it was
That's crazy.
super intense. It was super,
Mm.
super, super intense, right? And then there was this sharing, right, session, and I got to hear a little bit about each person's story, right? One person had issues with their mom, for their whole life, and this helped them even have a conversation with their mom that they hadn't spoken to in years, right? And I so my observation is this: I left there thinking, oh my God, the world needs a lot of healing. I wasn't like, oh my God, this guy with his mom and this person with that. I was like,
Mm.
it was a frequency that I felt like manifested itself in all of these different ways with all of these different people, but they were tuning into this same frequency of this pain that needed healing, right? And I think that's where we're at, all this spiritual woo-woo stuff that's happening, and people coming into their own powers, and meditation is addressing all of that on a collective level. And that's why I think a lot of people are starting to realize, like, I'm not a big fan of the terminology light workers and all of this stuff, right, that surrounds it, but I am a big fan of the energy and intention behind it, and what it means. And the reason I'm a
Yeah.
fan is because I see it happening around me, and I see it affecting people, like, what's the word I'm looking for? When I say I see it, it's obvious, right? Like, it's like, it's not just like, oh, maybe it's working for you,
It's like a collective apparent thing.
Yeah, it's a collective apparent thing. And I think, especially right now, some people are kind of rejecting love, right? The people who you see on social media who are just fighting left and right with their left and right concepts, you know what I mean? And alignments, and not seeing the we in it all. They're just kind of seeing the us and the them in it all. And I think it's people like you who help people get, like, forget for a minute, you know what I mean? Because you're so connect, and I think it's creativity that is the key,
Absolutely, yeah.
right? Because creativity to me is so much related to channeling and to love, and to, it just comes from source, right? It's just, I think, anything creative that you're doing, anything, right? So we are used to thinking about singing and playing music and drawing and art stuff, right? But
Right.
cooking, dancing, giving somebody a massage, these are all creative energies that when certain people do them, they're in the flow, they're in that flow state, because they're just so connected to that moment. Something that you said earlier, I wanted to point that out, because I was like, that's evidence right there that you're connected to the moment, right? Like, you're oh, it was the ritual thing that you were talking about, right? Like, spreading avocado on your toast to you is a ritual, right? But to me, you brought me to that moment. I was like, wow, she's so in that moment with her avocado and her toast, because it's something that's kind of meaningful to you. It's that ritual, that brings you to
Yeah,
that
and there's a
point.
lot of different ways to, I feel like, say it. Like, it's a ritual, it's being present, being in the moment. Or for
Mhm.
me, it's being grateful to be alive.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And how do I express that is to romanticize every
mm.
moment.
I
So
love
like
that.
every time I drink
Oh,
out of this cup, it's like an aesthetically romantic, like it's like everything is out of like a fairy tale,
I love that.
you
I love
know?
that.
And I feel like it makes, when the rough moments come and everybody has their cross to bear and there's always going to be the lows and stuff,
Mm-hmm,
finding a way to keep that gratitude alive even in those moments and
mm-hmm,
staying present in the little things like avocado is,
mm-hmm.
that's going to be there on the days where, you lose someone, and it's going to be there on the days that you win the lottery. So it's like that's the little things that you can kind of cling on to.
Love it so much. I
Yeah.
knew I liked you, Nikki. I knew it. I knew there was a reason. You're so wise, for such a young girl. Um, really, and I think that's something that I connected to in looking at your music, in knowing the people that we're connected to, you know what I mean, and how you're connected to them. We didn't even get to talk about, it's 10 o'clock already. I don't know
I
if
know.
you got to
We'll
run.
have to do another interview.
Yeah, I would love to. Maybe I'll have you on the live stream of consciousness instead, and we can talk about some other stuff there. It's kind of a crossover audience. Um, but you're so amazing to talk to. I do want to play one more little bit of song. So you tell me what you prefer. You want us to see a little manic episode or
Yeah.
Sour Girlfriend?
Um, people could look at Psycho Girlfriend themselves if they want. I remade 25 horror films, so if you're into horror, watch that. Manic Episode is more nostalgic fun, and maybe play like a little bit of that one if
All
you're
right,
into
so
that.
let's take a look at that, and then think of some good parting words for you to bestow upon my audience while we're watching this, and then
Will do.
we'll say goodbye. Cool. Oh, I think I turned the sound off. Let me start that over.
It's okay.
It's not intentional, it's medical. Little jitterbug, you overly engage with me. I fed myself, I ate it up. Little pleasure spiked with pain. Ticket on your crazy train. Read the writings on the wall. Said don't care, I want it all. Cast me as the co-star in your manic
Shanae.
episode. I'll play the role, it's casual. Tell me when to go. If you're the drug, then fuck me up. Requiem for a dream. The mania, the mania.
All right, let's pause it so we don't get flagged, just in case. I don't
All
know.
right, so good, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
actually
yeah.
it reminded me that I wanted to ask you about that specific line, because I know Requiem for a Dream is a movie that for me had a visceral effect. Surprisingly enough, I have to actually walk out of the room during the scene with the grandmother and the television. I
Interesting.
get so choked up. I start to cry, and like there's so much other crazy stuff in that movie that
Interesting.
I can
Yeah, no,
handle, right?
it's that movie. I used to say it was my favorite movie, and then when I put the line in the song, I rewatched the movie and I was like, this isn't my favorite movie.
It's a
I'm
fuck.
never watching this movie again. Like, screw this movie.
Whoa, yeah.
Like,
It's
no.
a it's a powerful movie. There's a lot of energy in that movie. I think I experienced it the same way. I'm like, oh my god, this movie's amazing. I love it, and I watched it a couple times, and then like years later, I watched it, and I'm like, wow, that's fucking heavy, And like I said, I couldn't even, like, I had to walk out of the room during parts of it.
Yeah.
And,
And I
and
think that in the context of my song, it really works because it's like it kind of explaining this relationship that's not completely grounded in anything but just fun. And that's kind of what drugs is. It's like, okay, I know you're bad for me, but I'm going to just jump on the crazy train and
right,
enjoy the ride, and
yeah.
hopefully I don't die.
And I think that video invokes that kind of that reckless, that
Yeah.
recklessness, which is great. Really, really smart stuff. bravo. Like I said, for such a young girl, I know that ages me when I say that, but like really, really impressive catalog behind you of music and accomplishments. Like I said, we didn't even get to talk about the immersive theater, which I would love
Well,
to
if
talk about.
anybody's interested, I am performing in immersive theater in Manhattan through
Mhm.
June. So you could check that out on my Instagram. I play a journalist who's interviewing a serial killer. So another recall to playing in a dark plot where my character's whole world is turned upside down. It's very sad and crazy to be interviewing a serial killer. So I definitely have to do my positive rituals after I play her.
So I'm picturing kind of like, it seems very Silence of the Lambs, right? Like that kind of.
Yeah, you're watching me and my husband interview the serial killer.
Mm,
Very Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
crazy. Sounds amazing. Awesome. And I just had something else I wanted to say too that I forgot about. Oh, we didn't talk about your pageant, which is amazing. Nikki,
Yes.
you're just so you're like a Renaissance
Well,
woman.
we could do a whole show on the pageant alone. So,
Yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back. But before I put you in the green room and say goodnight to my audience, do you have any words of advice, any words of wisdom, any words of caution, words of love, any of the above?
yeah, I mean, all love. I wrote a lyric yesterday and it was, it was something like this. I'm not going to say it exactly right, but we're all choosing which side to fight for. And
Mhm.
I choose love, and even choosing love's going to make somebody sore. So you just got to choose, your own self and your own peace.
Bravo.
And I read a book that said something like life is really just choosing who you want to disappoint. So you can't make everybody happy. You
Interesting.
can't, please everybody, which is like my whole thing in life is like
Mhm.
learning that.
Right.
And really just, if you are called to do something, don't think that it's a saturated place or space.
Ooh, I love that.
Hold space for yourself to
I
do the
love
things
that.
that you're called to do.
I love that.
Because that, if you don't believe in God, fine, but that is God. Like that, why do you think you're called to do it? Like just do it.
And that, my folks, is why we are here at this very moment, all of us gathered here experiencing this because of that very sentiment. Nikki, you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Don't go away after I sign off. I want to, we'll talk. But thanks for being here. I'm definitely going to get you on the live stream of consciousness. So folks, keep a lookout for that. And thank you everybody for being here with me. Nikki, I'm going to put you in the back. Guys, oh man, so energized. I love doing this. What Nikki just said is kind of why I'm here, right? I mean, I can't say I feel called to do this, but I also can say because nobody's, paying me lots of money to be here. I'm doing this because I love bringing great conversations to the collective, to you guys, because you guys are awesome and you're always here. Tim and Ninja Kitty, Sean, thank you for showing up. Tanya, thank you for showing up. Some of the people who came just for Nikki, thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I definitely did. I'm looking forward to having some more. I'm looking forward to maybe collaborating with Nikki on something somehow. Just whatever it might be. You know what? You never know. There's so many ways to collaborate as creatives these days. Even just to like make a meme together, or something like that would be really cool. So let me just pop open my calendar here real quick. I do have Gregory C. Harry, who is the Divine Design Healing on Instagram. He is an amazing content creator, creating some amazing spiritual advice, little words of wisdom and encouragement. So I asked him to be on the live stream of consciousness. And after that, it's anybody's guess. I've got a bunch of feelers out there to some amazing new guests. I've been kind of using the power of the stuff that I profess here about manifestation and reaching out to people who, why should I be afraid to reach out to somebody that I want to talk to? You know, I mean, I reached out to Donald Hoffman. I don't know if you guys know who Donald Hoffman is, but he's an amazing neuroscientist who's on all these amazing podcasts right now. And he talks about how reality is not what we think it is. It's just a headset into something different. And I'm not going to even dive into that conversation. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Jenny Berlin also just popping in at the last minute. Thank you for being here. Bernadette, I think so many people suppress their creative gifts due to judgments and critics. That used to be me. I've gone through so much that I don't care what people think. That right there, there's a few of them, but that is definitely one of them. The secret to life. Don't give a shit what other people think. Nikki was saying it too. Just do what you're called to do. Don't care that there's other people doing it too. Don't compare yourself to them or try to be them. Do it how it feels right to you. That's just how it's going to be great. Tanya, thanks to you. Have a great evening. To you too, my friend. Let me find my outro here, my long sacred spiral outro. So sit through it. And I hope Nikki sits through it in the green room. I will see you guys next week. Peace. Bye.